Northrop White Sands in New Mexico, we have a chance of rain showers there, and that site is being ruled out as a contingency landing site at this point. Overseas at the transoceanic abort landing sites, the weather is also looking to be acceptable. Both the Morón site in Spain and Benguerir Airport in Morocco are showing good weather systems. How we only need one good TAL site to launch, and there has not been a selection of the prime site at this point yet, but chances are it will either be Morón Air Base in Spain or the Benguerir Airport in Morocco. No significant issues being worked at this time in the firing room that would impact liftoff at 10:53. We have good weather. The astronauts are in the process of beginning their suit-up operations, and following that are scheduled to go out to the launch pad at about 7:38 this morning. In the operations and checkout building, the STS-58 flight crew are donning their flight suits in preparation for this morning's launch. Our commander is Colonel John Blaha, giving us a thumbs up and signaling that he's ready for flight today. Payload specialist is Dr. Marty Fettman. This will be the first trip in space for Dr. Fettman, who also has the distinction of becoming the first veterinarian to make a shuttle flight. Here's mission specialist Dr. David Wolf, wishing everyone a good morning and gearing up for his first flight in space. Mission specialist number 2 is Bill McArthur. Bill is a lieutenant colonel in the Army and has served as a CAPCOM or capsule communicator in the Johnson Space Center among his duties since becoming an astronaut in 1990. This will be the first trip in space for Lieutenant Colonel McArthur. And here's our payload commander and mission specialist number 1, Dr. Ray Seddon, giving us the AOK sign and a thumbs up. This will be the third trip in space for Dr. Seddon, who also, aside from her astronaut duties, serves as an emergency room physician in Houston hospitals. Columbia's pilot is Rick Searfoss, and this will be the first trip in space for Rick. Our mission specialist number 4 is Dr. Shannon Lucid, obviously very relaxed this morning. This will be the 15th flight in space for Columbia, which was the very first space shuttle, originally launched on April 12th, 1981. And we have a live video shot of our 7 STS-58 crew members as they leave their crew quarters en route for the elevator. Our Director of Flight Crew Operations, David Leesma, and our T-38 and Shuttle Training Aircraft weather pilot, Jim Weatherby, accompanying the crew members. The crew being led out by Commander John Blaha and Dr. Ray Seddon, our payload commander.
OTC, OVCC. Last crew members boarding at this time. Copy.
Mission Specialist number 4, Dr. Shannon Lucid, Now entering the vehicle and becoming the 7th and final crew member aboard Columbia. T-minus 8 minutes and counting.
RTC PLT, essential bus source fuel cell switches complete. Copy.
T-minus 7 minutes, 30 seconds, and the ground launch sequencer has initiated retraction of the orbiter crew access arm away from Columbia. This bridge between the orbiter and the launch tower can be reinstalled back in place within 15 seconds if need be. T-minus 7 minutes, 10 seconds, and counting.
Countdown clock will resume on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. Okay, let's just go for orbiter APU start. Copy. PLT OTC, perform APU start. APU starts and work.
Orbiter Test Conductor Brian Momborn has given our pilot Rick Searfoss the command to start Columbia's auxiliary power unit. Once the pilot completes this task, hydrazine will begin flowing into the holding tanks of the orbiter's auxiliary power units. 37 seconds before launch, the ground launch sequencer will make a final check to assure that the vent hood is positioned well away from the space shuttle.
Verify no unexpected errors. Caution warning, memory clears and work.
Orbiter Test Conductor Brian Momborn requested pilot Rick Searfoss to clear the ship's caution and warning memory system.
OTC PLT caution warning memory clear complete. No unexpected errors.
Retraction of the external tank's gaseous oxygen vent hood is now in work.
Close and lock your visors. Initiate O2 flow. This time we're going to send you. Roger that. Closing visors. Pseudo 2 on.
Orbiter Test Conductor Brian Momborn instructing the flight crew to close and lock their visors. T-minus 1 minute, 50 seconds, and counting. All systems remain go at T-minus 15 seconds.
10. GLS go for main engine start.
Set T-minus 6, 5, 4. We have main engine start. 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Columbia on a life sciences mission for Earth and space.
Houston's now controlling.
Houston, Columbia, roll program.
Roger, roll, Columbia. Mission Control sees a good roll maneuver, placing Columbia on the proper heading. 3 good engines at 100%. Engines are throttling back now, easing Columbia through the dense lower altitudes, but continuing to accelerate very rapidly. Columbia is already traveling over 650 miles per hour. Columbia continues to climb at a relatively steep angle at this point, tripling its rate of speed over the next minute. Solid rocket boosters, each delivering 3.3 million pounds of thrust, will burn out and separate at 2 minutes 3 seconds. Time now 1 minute 48 seconds. SRB chamber pressure is tailing off. And Mission Control sees a good booster separation. Columbia is now flying free, powered by its own main engines. Second stage guidance is now in effect. Altitude 184,000 feet, downrange distance 35 nautical miles.
Columbia, Houston, performance nominal.
Roger, Kurt, performance nominal.
Copy 103, converged.
Press to MECO.
Press.
Columbia Houston, press to MECO.
Press to MECO.
Single engine Ben Guerrier 104.
Columbia Houston, single engine Ben Guerrier 104.
Booster, any changes for the dump?
Negative, flight. Or go for the dump. MECO +2.
Copy.